servant. You say, you've served table and never served a table. But everything I've ever done in my life was that of a servant. Either I was driving a taxi cab and serving people, or I was delivering pizzas and serving people, or I was going door to door to sell cable to serve people's needs. I had to do, in order to make sales, I had to do a lot of public service. I had to do a lot of PR, public relations. See, we are servants. Stop complaining that God gave you a job to serve people and start smiling and loving them. Amen. See, Diana is serving us. She puts in some difficult hours recording, downloading, and promoting these messages. That's that of a servant. Sister Popeye is a servant. She takes those children back there and she teaches them. Yes. Sister Shirley is a servant. When there's a need, there's something that needs to be taking place in the church, Shirley takes care of it. When there's phone calls that need to be made, Shirley takes care of it. Sister Marlene is a servant. There ain't no better servant than one that deals with somebody's feet. I went down and got a pedicure from her one day, and man, she rubbed my feet, and I'm like, oh, I'm in heaven. That's a servant. Jesus was a servant when he knelt down and went to wash the feet of Peter and said, no, Lord, no, not me. I should be doing this to you. And he said, if you don't allow me to do this, then you're not a part of me. Then he said, then wash me all over. He said, your feet's sufficient. Get the walk right. You get the walk right and everything will also be okay. Are you listening to me? We know it starts with the heart.
Yes.
But the heart produces the walk. And a lot of people go around talking about how they love Jesus, but they don't walk like it.
That's right.
Whew. Thank you, Jesus. I was just thinking, man, this is some good stuff right here.
Yeah, it is.
I was just thinking how God is elevating this. He's elevating us. Amen. Doing a little bit of fasting and praying will do that. Amen. I encourage you, if you haven't started, start. If you can't get through a whole day, then get through a meal. Let me give you some advice. Don't say I'm going to fast for 3 days. Say I'm going to fast for a meal. And if you can get through one meal, then there's a chance you might get through a second meal. If you can get through the second meal, well, you probably can get through the third meal, and then hopefully you can make it through the night. Amen. You might wake up the next morning and not be hungry. And if you're not hungry that next day, then you can go through another meal and then another meal and another meal. Before you know it, you've gone through those 3 days and didn't think you could make it through the first meal. I read a brother, Derek Prince. I'm reading a book on fasting. He said that him and his wife would fast 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. I've chosen Monday for myself. And hopefully Wednesday. I'm definitely going Monday. And he said that they noticed, him and his wife noticed after years of doing this. He said after a period of time, he didn't say how long, he said we noticed that we'd wake up on that given day and we wouldn't even be hungry. Our body had learned to adjust not to even be hungry on that particular day. And they did this for years. They're on with the Lord now. Eating the feast of the Lord. Amen? Mm-hmm. But he said we had trained our body. And one day he said, my wife looked at me and said, I just noticed I'm not even hungry. And they started to realize that as a pattern of training their body to fast every day, on a particular day, every week. Not once a month, not once a year. But every week they fasted 2 days a week. And they learned that they weren't even hungry on those days. How many of you know that fasting is actually good for your body? Because what it does, it causes your intestines to rest for a day. And therefore, it can heal itself. If there's any problems, it can heal itself. It can clean you out for a while and get some of that muck and mire out of you. Wow. You like how I said that, huh? Muck and mire. So we look at now in verse 3. It says, without father, without mother, without descent. This priesthood of both he and Jesus are outside of genealogical.
Geological.
Yeah, that's what I said. No, that's not the right word. Genealogical boundaries of the Levitical priesthood appointed by God. How many of you know what I'm talking about? The Levite, the priest, the Levitical priesthood was restricted by your genealogy. If you weren't born in the Levitical family, you could never be a priest. You couldn't just walk around and say, I believe I've been called. Is your daddy a priest? No. Was your grandfather a priest? No. Was your great-grandfather a priest? No. And you're not a priest. This priesthood after the order of Melchizedek was not restricted to your genealogy. Some like preachers today. See, you and I would be in trouble, Brandon, because our fathers were not preachers. Our grandfathers were not preachers. Our great-grandfathers were not preachers. No one in my line, other than my step-great-grandmother's father, was a preacher. But in my bloodline that I know of, there was never a preacher in my bloodline, other than a couple uncles that were lay ministers. So if I depended on the law as the Levitical priesthood had to, I would be disqualified immediately. And there's other reasons in the Levitical priesthood that would prevent me from being a minister, that I just would not qualify. But how many of you know that God qualifies those He calls? You know that, Camden? You're qualified. So we look and we see that they were appointed by God. Now let's drop on down. What verse was it? 18. It says, for verily the disannuling, is that right?
Disannulling.
Yeah, it's like an annuity, right? That word there. By the commandment of the commandments gone before for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the law made nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did. Which by the which we draw nigh unto God. Now listen to this. The priestly ministry established by the law could not bring people to sinlessness, nor to spiritual maturity. Can I say that again? Listen to what it says. For the law made nothing perfect. So the Levitical priesthood, the ministry of the Levitical priesthood, which was established by the law, was unable to bring people to a life of sinlessness. Was unable to bring people to a spiritual maturity. But it says, by which we draw nigh to God. But but the bringing in of a better hope did, by which we draw nigh to God.